Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Football Fundits, where the football doesn't really make that sense and the banter's not funny at all. On left wing here, we have Abhishek Kayar. Back in the kit room cleaning all the boots, we have Animesh Thakkar. And here in the manager's dugout making all the difficult decisions, it's me, Kandrateria.
If this gentleman is our manager, I'm going to start a petition right now on Twitter that says Karn out.
I second that. Please hit subscribe. Karn, let's take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get back to the football, and that's what this show is about. Quickly coming on to the weekend. Animesh, your thoughts on United versus Liverpool?
Absolutely boring. I mean, honestly, it wasn't anyone's fault per se. The first half injuries really, killed the momentum, like even Klopp said. I think he was misunderstood. What he meant to say was it really killed the rhythm of the whole game in general, not just Liverpool. There was a lot of expectation. United were in the best form that they've been in the last 2 years. Liverpool have been slowing down. It was Old Trafford. We all United fans at least thought that we could definitely win the game, but losing Juan Mata, Herrera in the first 20 minutes was really like a sucker punch. And I think all in all, United fans should be really happy with the draw because it's still 1 point and we have a couple of more weeks to go. I think it was overall a good result.
I think tactically, if you're Jose Mourinho right now, I think this is a game that you'll favourite for the rest of your life. I think it was a very tactical game. I remember at one time, I think I saw 10 midfielders in the centre of the pitch, 5 on each side. For the viewer, was it the best game to watch? Maybe not. But if you just look at individual performances, right from the two managers and the 11 players on each side, I think they did well for themselves. I think it's a result that complements both managers very well in the table. You must remember that even though Liverpool are sitting pretty with just a point lead, and a lot of City fans out there might be thinking that, hey, they've dropped 2 points, City still have to play United at Old Trafford.
Exactly.
So in that sense, I think it's a very good result for Klopp and a very good result for Ole. I think both sets of fans will be reasonably happy with how this turned out.
Yeah, when we're just touching upon the injuries, right? It's just that with the midfield of McTominay and Pereira for most of the game, maybe when you're a Liverpool fan, you think that, okay, maybe, with that midfield, we could have probably gone and done something more. But yeah, so we touched upon, like you saying that, okay, this might be a good result for Liverpool in terms of the title run. Yeah. What does it do for United? They now come down back to 5th and Arsenal have gone above them.
I think that's temporary because I think this was always going to be a difficult fixture for United.
Right.
And I'm still going to tell a lot of people watching this that sitting today as United fans, just being in this position is a miracle in itself.
Right.
Let's not forget that just maybe over a month ago, had I told a United fan, had I given you the opportunity to be in this position, even if it's 5th, 1 point behind Arsenal or whatever it is, you would have bitten my hand off. So I still think it's a fantastic result. There's still a lot of football to be played. I think 13 or 11 more games to be played in the Premier League. The run-in is going to start. So I think United have a double game week coming up in 32
about 2 or 3
and 35.
game weeks time, right?
I think signs of fatigue are starting to show. I think a lot of injuries. I think Herrera has finally cracked. One was wondering when this guy is going to crack, and he's cracked.
Because he's not played so much football, under both managers before this. So he has had a great run. He's been pivotal to United's upturn in form along with Pogba. But coming back to what he was saying, injuries are now going to tell not just on United, but on the whole top 4 run right now. It's very crucial, right? People thought, personally, even me, I picked Tottenham to, kind of slip out, of the top 4. Surprisingly, they held through. Pochettino did a great job. And Kane came back last game and they lost. So sometimes football is just so funny, right? And speaking of which, just 2 days from now, we have Spurs versus Chelsea. And 5 days after that, we have, 4 days after that, we have Arsenal versus Spurs.
The North London
This could
derby,
be
correct.
immense for Spurs in general and the whole top 4 race, And I think, Kern, if you can just elaborate more on that, because if Spurs were to win both these games, this almost makes United guaranteed to at least finish 4th, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say guarantee, but yeah, Spurs winning those 2 games would obviously make the entire thing very interesting, where now suddenly Spurs then cement themselves into the 3rd position.
Right.
And then it's just 4th that's up for grabs, right? So in that sense, we'd maybe be hoping for Spurs to drop points somewhere there. Maybe draws would probably favour us as United fans.
Yeah, draws would be ideal either way.
Draws would be, and honestly, I think Spurs will we will see the toll taking on the Spurs team, and
but guys,
big
I think
fixtures coming up.
I think it's easier said than done. I don't think so. Talking about the battle for the top 4, I don't think Spurs are going to have it easy by any means. I think even, in fact, we're sitting probably a week or 2 before the North London derby. But I think Arsenal are actually favourites for that game because you know what happens in a North London derby. It doesn't come down to the team's form over the last X number of games. The North London derby is a one-off fixture. It's, even if Tottenham were languishing 17th in the league
like the first leg, Arsenal ended up beating Tottenham and they were kind of going off form. Tottenham won better form that time. Correct.
So I think the race for the top 4 is wide open. It's wide open. In fact, United dropping 2 points last night blows that gate open so much more. It gives some respite to say an Arsenal or a Chelsea. But I must tell you that if sorry ball continues and sorry ball is sorry ball, if the way that continues and if the general turmoil around Chelsea continues, I think United are probably best placed to finish 4th between the 3 sides. I still think Tottenham have done just about enough.
I mean, come on, it's Arsenal. What do you think they're going to do? What are Arsenal really going to do?
We're talking about Tottenham's fixtures, right? So, I mean, after the North London derby, Arsenal have Europa League, then they have United, and then they have Europa League again. So Arsenal also stretch. It's not that they have good squad depth right now. They're anyway struggling without these string of fixtures coming in, right?
Lacazette misses the Europa League, right? He got a red card.
Correct. And I mean, then again, having said that, United still have Arsenal away, then City at home and Chelsea at home back-to-back later on in the season. So I think the top 4 is just going to go down to the wire. It's going to be these fixtures are going to make it
after
tricky.
North London derby, the next week we have United Arsenal.
Exactly.
So it's a big couple of weeks, a big 3 game weeks coming up for the top 4 race. Honestly, I think the top 2 are just going to probably not be looked at, I think, till the start of April. It's all going to be about the top 4 fight in March at least.
I think, I mean, the top 2 fight is one that's going to go to the end, the 4 are going to go till the end. But I mean, when we're talking about that, obviously Sunday we had the Carabao Cup, the tournament in itself obviously...
The Mickey Mouse Cup. What?
Exactly, the tournament itself obviously has not that much significance as a whole, but like, so when I look at the fixture, I looked at it as for City, it was another trophy in the bag, right? But I mean, even if they were to lose, I don't think it would make that big of a difference. Whereas for Chelsea, that could have sort of sparked the season on and maybe turned their
I think fantastic point right there, which is the larger point that I'm going to make right now. I think any cup, if it's played at the highest level, I think it's got its merit, and there's a reason that it's there to stay. I do not agree with all you people sitting at home or whoever does, who says that competitions like the Carabao Cup and the like, some people even say the FA Cup now, are not significant enough. I think that's very, very relative, and often it's made out in context. Now here's what I mean by this. Put Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and this United side in that final last night. That final would have been massive for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because had he won that, he's put a trophy in the cabinet in a season when people would have thought that, hey, you know what, United are going absolutely into the dumps. Take that same situation and, like you said, put it in Chelsea's thing. I think it's relevant. Now I'm going to flip it across. Even City winning this cup, I think it's massive. It's absolutely massive. It's almost a statement to even Liverpool saying that, hey, you know what, you and I are in the title race, but I still made it to this final.
Right.
I'm still playing this final. Liverpool are not playing this final.
And they're still better placed in the Champions League to go to the next round.
Correct. So the larger point I'm trying to make is, I think cups like these are very, very important. If Sarri had won this cup last night, it could have actually sort of sparked a comeback of sorts. Not that Kepa wanted to make it any easier with that little tantrum that they threw. But
that was a little...
having said that, Chelsea sort of dominated the game, right? It looked like, okay, the players are finally playing for Sarri, and then the end, Kepa had something else in mind, and suddenly it's disaster.
It's like a revolt, right? I mean...
it's not a revolt. They clarified it. It was a miscommunication.
That's what he said. He said basically what he thought, that the coaching staff misunderstood that he was injured. He said he was not. He was fine to play.
He was injured. He was cramping.
The thing was, what happens is sometimes the coaching staff, medical team, they go around. So he said it took 2 minutes for the manager to understand what I was trying to say. He said I was fine. I could play. Either way, though, when the manager is telling you have to get off, you get off.
How important would VAR have been right here? Had they just looked at their screens and said, you know what, guys, he's okay.
I can just imagine someone in the production team just having a bit of banter, trying to leak this footage.
Everyone's having fun with it,
Everyone is, come on, end of the day, the position Sarri is in, it's very unfortunate, but he's actually kind of made a joke of the manager unwittingly. Obviously, he didn't mean to.
He lost his head.
He obviously
he walked off.
He was walking off.
No, but I mean, that's the entire point of this, right? Like, it was a miscommunication or whatever, but after a game where, where Chelsea finally looked like, okay, the players are back, the squad is back, they're playing.
I'm just doing this. I just want to get up and just get up. Like, this is what he just did. You can't do that. It doesn't make sense. You can't, when the manager tells you, you have to get off, son, you're like, You put your head down, you kick the dressing room, but you get off. You
Or maybe you tell him once and
Frustrations
it just came off.
You
like
can't interrupt the flow of the game.
And especially this is before a penalty shootout when the whole thing is about keeping your calm, right? And I mean, okay, so all of this now coming down to, do you think, do you think where, okay, maybe most likely it won't happen, but just in case that ban that could come through for Chelsea, with all of this happening right now,
it won't serve them well.
What do you think? Like, do you think like Sarri has his job by the time this video comes out?
You know what's ironic, but that they've got a ban for signing underage players when they don't play their youth. No manager ever has. The irony is now for 2 years they'll have to play that same youth players. It's so funny. It's a joke in itself.
They're getting banned for sending someone on loan to Vitesse. Basically.
Exactly.
No, so a couple of things here. I think one, I personally don't think the ban will stay. Even if it does, I think they've done just about enough to cover their summer. But that aside, to answer your question about Sarri having the job by the time this video comes out, I think he will. I don't think his job is that desperately on the line. Yes, they've had a terrible turn of results given the way they started. Sarri ball has become sorry ball. I think the players in general, you can see there's a bit of motivation lacking. Last night, had they won the game last night, it would have been big. But I think they can take some optimism from the fact that it was a very closely contested 0-0. They did save a penalty in the penalty shootout. And I think City just about edged it. So I don't think the gaps were so big. I think the gaps were fine last night.
And Hazard was inspired last night. You know, he actually a good spark he had in himself.
I think he was sort of the difference between the two sides through the 120 odd minutes.
He almost took on 4 defenders on 2 separate occasions, and in fact he beat Company, got the ball in only for Kante to fire.
The other question is, if they sack Maurizio Sarri, who I still think is a very good manager, who then?
Claude Puel, who's just lost his job.
I think shocking. I'll be honest, shocking. Claude Puel didn't deserve the sack. I think he did. I think he was average. He wasn't anything great, but he wasn't poor either. And I think Leicester, are they trying to be too ambitious by sacking Claude Puel?
So, you know, I feel maybe they are still trying to show that they have ambition.
Define ambition.
33 points, almost close to the relegation zone, is not where they really want to be. They want to show that, yes, just because we won the Premier League, it wasn't a fluke. We want to finish in the top 7, maybe even make it to Europa. And do they have the squad for that? Yes, they do. It's not a bad squad. They've got Tielemans from Monaco right now. Great young prospect from Belgium. Belgian player, if I'm not mistaken. They really can do much better. Was it harsh to sack him right now? Yes. Can they do better? Yes.
Because it's the run-in. And I'm going to ask you a question about Leicester. Maybe you can close the Leicester bit with this. If you're the boss of Leicester, if you're the chairperson or the chairman or the owner of Leicester, and you're sat in June just before the start of the season, and you have Claude Puel, whoever your manager is, and it's 2018-19, what are your objectives for the season? How do you set your targets, and how do you really define what Leicester City is? That's what I want to know.
So I'll tell you what, I think where Klopp lost it and where, again, like as a chairman I look forward to is going far in cups. I think Puel didn't really give too much of an effort in those cup competitions. Where I mean, like, he tinkered with the team too much. He didn't really go all out with his first team when it came to this cup competition. And as a chairman of Leicester, or as fans of Leicester, where, okay, now, you know, you can't really go far in the league and the top 6 is gone first, you can't really do Europe. An FA Cup run is what probably keeps the fans going, you know, up until May.
What's your objective at the start of the season from a Premier League standpoint?
I'd say top 10 and a good FA Cup run when you're a Leicester City. I think that's what I say, and that's where I think Klopp fell short. He has his differences with its players, where back when they beat City in December, which was a crazy accomplishment at that point, especially seeing how City were playing.
Massive, right.
Harry Maguire actually came out and he said that, you know, we want to play more football like this, and I hope we play more football like this, but Puel never went through. Vardy's come out and said, I can't really play football like this. Schmeichel has come out. So the players obviously aren't really happy with him, and that's one thing that's gone down, right? He's lost the dressing room in one sense, where the players aren't happy with him. Right. He's not really done much in the FA Cup, so the fans aren't that happy. So it was all in all, it was just maybe just time to go.
I guess, you know, with the family culture that the club does have, players don't openly come out and, you know, diss the club or the manager too much because they love the club. Yeah. But I guess the unrest has been building for a while, and, you know, it's something that I guess we eventually got him.
Exactly.
You know, actually we're talking about, you know, injuries earlier, and, you know, we said that back-to-back game weeks right now, especially for United, for example, you know, we have 5 injuries, you know, with Herrera, Mata, Rashford out. Ole said his ankle was like a balloon.
Fantasy Premier League says 50%, so I'm going to gamble on next game week.
Fantasy Premier League says a lot of things sometimes they don't mean. And, you know, best interesting because, you know, next week we begin the second round of the round of 16 for Champions League again, you know. how big of impact will it have on United's chances of anyway progressing was slim? How big of impact do you think it will have?
I think it's massive. I think right now we need to bring Carrick out from the dugout and put him onto the field because we've lost. You lost Mata, we've lost Matic, we lost Herrera. Pogba can't play the second leg. Yeah, right. And I mean, if we had any chance, right, and I would just go back to PSG 2 years ago squandering a 4-0. Exactly. So I had some hopes from that. Even though they technically they like outplayed us, I had some hopes from that. But right now we've lost our midfield completely. We probably lost Rashford, you know, who's one of our. Yeah. So we've. I mean, in a sense, I'm actually now going to PSG and I'm actually a little scared. You know, going in.
Little? I think, very honestly, this game is done. I think this fixture is over. Let's write it off because I'm just going to draw another comparison here to the United-Liverpool.
Recap the first leg also for us, you know.
I'm just going to draw another comparison to the United-Liverpool game. Let's not forget, guys, when PSG came to Old Trafford, United fans were harping on and on about how, come on, we're going to absolutely destroy them. And with fair reason, because United were sort of hitting their peak at the time. Right. They came without Neymar, Cavani, guys. And they scored 2 goals at Old Trafford and they left. Yeah. I think that's validation enough for that PSG side. I think they're way too strong. Given United's injuries now, it only weakens what's already otherwise a weakened side without Pogba. Yeah, so I think this is honestly PSG's to lose. I do not think this is similar in any way to PSG scoring 4. Was it Barcelona?
Barcelona coming up.
I don't think it's similar because the context was very different. That was also a much bigger game. I think that was the semis. Or the quarters.
I think the quarters, yeah.
Yeah,
it was round of 16. It was round of 16. PSG hasn't gone past the round of 16.
I stand corrected there, but I think I still think that this is PSG's to lose. I don't see Manchester United doing way too much. The fixture that actually is tickling me and getting me excited is Atletico Juve, and I'll tell you why. Atletico beat Juve 2-0. We all know that. Fantastic game. I think a tactical masterclass from the manager. I think it was a really good game. So I want to know from you, Animesh. I think it's Juventus, Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, back at the old lady, back in Turin. Right. I personally see Juventus going through, and that's why I think it's going to be a cracking fixture. Yeah. But you know, what do you think?
Right. You know, the funny part is though, Atletico Madrid in the last last 3 out of the 4 Champions League, they've been knocked out by Real Madrid mainly because of Ronaldo, which was in the quarterfinals in 2014-15, in the finals in 2015-16, and again in the semi-finals 16-17. Last year, Atletico obviously had a poor phase, and again flip it around. Juventus themselves have had 2 bad runs in the quarterfinals versus Madrid last year, and 2 years before that in the finals, if you remember. So Ronaldo's actually had a very big say in this fixture. So maybe this time for Juventus, he could just stand up. Let's not forget that Atletico have had a very poor season in the first half. Yes, they've come to play good football, and they've been really solid in the last 6 weeks. Maybe it's a good turn for them. That being said, this is the same side which leaked 4 goals, Dortmund. So the side can leak goals. At Turin, Ronaldo can score goals. Dybala can be inspired. If you had to ask me who has a better chance of overturning a 2-0 lead, United, I would say slim. Juventus 50-50 with Atletico. I think it's an easy game. With that.
That's spot on.
I don't see why Chiellini can't be inspired. Yeah. I don't see why Bonucci won't be inspired.
And they've been formidable at home.
Exactly.
Juventus.
You know, people are saying the La Liga has become, the Serie A has become so boring because they don't want Juve to win every game now. They have a 13-point lead. Yeah. I mean, they're sleeping their way through games. You know, Ronaldo's not, you could see sometimes they're being lazy, but they're not. They're like, it's just so easy for them, right? And I think that's something which has been the undoing.
Is that in turn affecting their Champions League?
Exactly. You know, when you play easy fixtures.
I think in sporting terms, it's a hogwash. I don't think it's, yeah, you're right, it's stupid. You know, but psychologically, do you think if they were playing in a far more competitive league where every match was absolutely detrimental, difficult to win, difficult to score, do you think there would have been less of a hangover effect of Juventus moving into a Champions League?
I honestly don't think so. I mean, at this stage, with the players that you have in your squad, I think it helps them because now you can rest players on the weekend. Where suppose a Liverpool on the weekend or a City on the weekend need to play the strongest squad both times. Correct. Juventus can rest Ronaldo. They can rest Dybala. You know, even if they lose a game in the Serie A, they have a 10-point lead. They know it's comfortable for them.
I think it was a good point.
So easier for continental teams to win the Champions League than it is for a British team.
Correct.
Because the toil of winning a league in the continent is not as intense
also
as
the Christmas break.
I get where it comes in. Say when when from the group stage you come into a round of 16 where you had a long gap and then you're playing a difficult team, then I get it. Yeah. But right now you're in the zone already. You're 2-0 down. I don't think you need to motivate the players. I think they're going to be motivated enough. I think they're going to be at it. I don't think that's really going to take a toll.
They'll be up for it.
I think Allegri did miss a move. You know, he's had almost a better half of 2 months to prepare for this game. I think they could have done better or be more prepared. Because if you watched the game and I watched the game, they did look like they were missing a trick. You know, they didn't have. Yeah, Ronaldo was really trying. You know, it's not like he didn't try, but Atletico always looked like they were going to score. You know, if it wasn't for VAR, Morata's goal was ruled outside. They were getting chances.
VAR pronounced in any language.
VAR.
So, no, but I mean, yeah, coming down to it, Atletico definitely
sounds like a new station on the Western Line, by the way. VAR.
VAR. So Atletico
Agla
definitely.
station VAR.
Today's station VAR. Okay, we're overdoing it. Go on. VAR.
Are we done? So Atletico definitely the better side on the night. I mean, the closest UA game was Ronaldo taking shots from 30-35 yards. He was desperate on the night. Costa missed the one-on-one which he should have buried. Griezmann came close, he should have buried.
Exactly.
So I mean, it could have easily been a game that they put out of UA's. And having said that, at halftime, 0-0, when the crowd were getting Ronaldo, he put up that 5, right? That I've won it 5 times.
Yeah, that was
and
sick.
now is this time that he needs to come back and prove that. He needs to make up for it because he did that 0-0. The second goal, as it happens, went off him. The slight deflection off Ronaldo went him, and now his second leg is when he needs to come in.
So prediction, guys, for this game, second leg.
Juventus 3, Atletico Madrid 0.
I'm not going to go to score, but I think Ronaldo will just. I think this is the time where Ronaldo comes in and turns it around.
I think Juve will make it 2-0 and it'll go to extra time. Then I think it's anyone's game. But I think Juve will definitely push it to extra time at least. That's what I feel. I think, you know, now let's just move on to Liverpool and Bayern Munich because that's a big game in itself. It was 0-0 in the first leg. Klopp does like to take a challenge to Bayern. That being said, maybe I feel Bayern does have an advantage and Liverpool season could face a roadblock there.
So honestly, as a United fan, I know this is very weird to say, but I hope Liverpool go through. And that's just because it'll start taking a toll on the Premier League squad.
Right.
But having said that, I think people have started exposing the Klopp side, which even Ole figured now, Bayern figured in the first leg, where if you give Liverpool the possession, they don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah,
You're only good on the counter.
They're
Yeah,
only
you
good on the
counter the
counter.
press. You counter the press.
Fantastic.
And you
So
block
you give
the
them,
press.
you give them the ball, and you suddenly find they don't know what to do, and that's what he found out in the first leg as well, right? Yes, I mean, Klopp loves a challenge against Bayern, but I think Bayern, despite the season they've had, have found the trick up their sleeves and have found that the weakness in the Liverpool squad, right? And they found how to unlock them. And I think Bayern should win this. I really think Bayern should win this. I hope Liverpool do, so that it takes a toll on the Premier League season and they have more things to concentrate on. But
I think this is the game where Liverpool's season comes crumbling down. They are going. I don't see Liverpool beating Bayern at the Allianz Arena.
I don't either.
Bayern are going to beat Liverpool. Bayern are going to progress, and from there, it's only going to go downhill for Liverpool. And I'll tell you why. They're having the kind of season where obviously they're very optimistic. Great squad, finally a good squad, finally a great squad. Fantastic players, all of them peaking at the right time. When I say peaking, I don't mean game to game, but from a season standpoint, each and every player is peaking. And I think this is the difference between what a Ferguson did to Manchester United, where when the going got tough in situations like this, he actually managed to hit the accelerator.
Exactly.
I'm seeing Liverpool kind of, I'm not saying they've hit the brakes, but I can see the accelerator just sort of being let go of and, you know, the ankle moving towards the brake. I think Bayern are going to beat them, and I don't see enough character in this Liverpool side to actually turn this around and go for a strong either cup run or a Premier League run. I think this is where their season...
I believe the exact same, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, the games that win you leagues, right, is, for example, coming back to the United game, right, the game that win you league is when you're facing your top oppositions and they're weakened, you go and you put your foot away. 1-0 away, and even, I mean, having said one, Liverpool didn't have a chance. They had one shot on goal, which is a desperate attempt by Sturridge at some point.
And one good attempt by Wijnaldum, the header from the corner. That's
but then again, no shot on target, didn't topple the keeper, right? So there's nothing really in it, right? So which is where I completely agree, where maybe the Liverpool team doesn't have the character, which is where you go back to and you talk about the Gerrard slip. I had to slip it in there.
Talking about a good squad, no, I really want to see Mane and Salah injured, not out of spite, because the Liverpool fans are going crazy since they beat us 3-1. You know, Shaqiri, Shaq. You idiots. There's only one Shaq. He played in the NBA. He's not the Shaq. Let's play him week in, week out and see what he does for you. Go for it.
Having said that, I think that was a well contested battle. I think when Liverpool won against United 3-1,
I loved it because
I think it was a fantastic game. I thought Liverpool were at their best in that game.
That being said, they were in their best form for the last 5 years, 6 years, since they last 4 years, since they last almost won the league.
As you said, that's the best game, and then it sort of went maybe downhill for them, uphill for them, because that they caused Mourinho sacking, Ole came in, all of that happened. Yeah. And I mean, we're just not talking about someone else throughout this thing, right? Like Pep has quietly gone ahead and done so much. Like he's now won 11 out of 12 of his finals. How do you see him doing in the Champions League this time? Because City in the Champions League is something that's been a bogey for them.
Yeah,
So
that's
what do you see happening for them now?
I think the biggest thing that will be bothering Pep Guardiola and City fans in general is that even though he's shown that he's an absolute masterclass when it comes to winning leagues and all of that, if Pep were to leave Manchester City at the end of the season and they want to win the Champions League, I don't think he would have cemented his place as the greatest City manager ever. I think that is what is putting pressure on a manager like Pep Guardiola. Rather than me telling you what this means for him, let me just tell you that, because I think it's obvious, this means everything for him. He has to win the Champions League. He won the Bundesliga with Bayern, he walked it, but he still left, as some would arguably say, a bit of a failure because of not winning the Champions League. I think he's in the same situation.
Do you think
right
City
now.
is better placed than any other English side right now to win the Champions League this year? I think so.
I honestly don't think an English side is going to win this year, to be honest. United, obviously, we discussed, aren't going to go through.
Wager a bet from United.
Of all three sides, of all.
Tottenham, also won 3-0.
I'm saying of all three sides because I'm not even considering Tottenham to go on and win it.
But they did win 3-0 convincingly, so.
Yeah, but I don't think they have it in them to sort of go on and win it. If I were to pick from, the 4 English sides that are in this, it would be City, if you ask me. Having said that, I don't think.
But if I were to pick a continental 4,
mentality.
if you were to pick a continental 4 to win the Champions League, I'd put a PSG, Juventus and Barcelona ahead of City.
Exactly my point.
Right.
I don't think City have the mentality yet at a Champions League stage. If you go back to the group stage, they had like one biggish team that they were up against. Over 2 legs, they lost to them. So it was basically City, Lyon in the group stage. City, Lyon in the group stage.
Came back to Manchester.
Right.
It was
Basically,
Lyon.
so basically City, Lyon in the group stage. And over 2 legs, City lost to them. Lost to Lyon, right? In an easy group stage. So that's what I'm talking about, right? Having said that, against even though Shakhtar, they went down to 10 men and they still pulled out the goods away from home. Right? So
what a game, Sterling. What a
that shows a lot of character in the squad.
That does show character in the squad,
Right.
but having said that, they still haven't, this is the only challenge that wins Shakhtar, to be fair. So when they go on to a bigger team, I don't think a City squad still has a mentality when it comes to Europe.
Let's just slip in a moment for Madrid, 3 times holder, back to, consecutive holders. Their prospects for 4th year, I don't think so.
I think Barca have a better chance.
I don't think 4 in a row will happen for Madrid.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Karan's saying.
I think Barca would be better placed. I also agree with him.
I think Barca are better placed. Yeah.
And I know the first leg was 0-0 against Lyon. I just think they have enough quality. Although last year they did muck up completely against Roma, if it wasn't. But Roma went through.
Barca have been leaking goals at the Camp Nou this
Right.
year. They've been leaking goals.
Yeah.
It's not the formidable 6-0, 5-0 Barca.
Exactly. They did muck up
Lyon have a
against
chance.
Roma last year when they did lose.
Correct.
I still think though that they should go through. Just because look at even on the weekend, Messi was in inspired form against Sevilla. They were down.
Oh, for sure.
Eventually 1-4-2 Messi hat-trick. I think
strong.
he should take them to the next round at least.
Exactly my point, right? I mean, yes, Barcelona haven't been, their formidable self. Having said that, they're 9 points clear or thereof in the La Liga, right? They had a slump in the middle, but now they've come back, and I think Messi and co. I mean, Suarez is facing a slump, but on his day, these guys can just turn it up like that, and I think they should be able to walk themselves into the next round.
Same, yeah, that's what I think too.
I definitely think
they've given Lyon an opening. They've given Lyon an opening where Lyon can come in and even a 1-1 draw can see them through. They've given them an opening. But having said that, I think Barca are going
What
through.
this does is, actually that's a very good point. What this does is it forces Lyon to think on the offensive.
Correct.
And that could be their undoing, because if Lyon come to the new camp and get too aggressive and in trying to secure that goal, Barca will completely
No,
open
that
up.
hope will turn into
but
false hope very quickly. It could be 2-0 down suddenly and it's done. That
No,
hope
but
is-
in fact, it's contradictory for me. For me, Lyon can now come in and just sit and be like, you know what, we get 1 on the counter and we're good. They can just come in and sit. They don't need to force the issue. They can easily force it 0-0 all
But they're
the way
still
through 80.
thinking of having to go on that counter, which is my point.
No, but
Imagine Lyon won this 1-0, then they'd sit.
They just sit.
They just sit.
Fair, yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll find out. But
We'll see.
I think if I were Lyon's manager, the way I would approach it is to just hope for a 0-0 through all the way through after extra time and let penalties do your talking. And if you get an away goal, even better.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and I think that kind of wraps up Champions League for us, at least in terms of who we think will go ahead. And you're speaking about Barca and Madrid, since we were on that. We've got back-to-back El Clasicos coming. That's the second leg of the Copa del Rey. 1-1 first leg. And we have the El Clasico again on the weekend in the La Liga. I wouldn't say straight up predictions, but Barcelona has been dominating the El Clasicos recently, at least in the last 5 games. Would you think that if Madrid win the El Clasico on the weekend in the La Liga, will that give them some hope of winning the league, or I think Barca sealed it?
So I'll allow Kern to answer this.
Yeah.
Before you make your point, I just want to make a comment. The goal difference between Barcelona and Real Madrid right now is 24 in the league. Okay.
Wow, didn't know that.
No, and I'm just going to say one thing. Those 24 goals is one man. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. His departure from Real Madrid has been the biggest factor in why Madrid have such a terrible goal difference compared to Barcelona. I don't think they've had such a big gap when Ronaldo was there. No. Take one man out of the team, and I think it's visible how much that Real Madrid side.
The Ronaldo fanboy can very easily be seen.
Surprise! He made the Ronaldo point.
I'm going to make no bones of it. I'm a very big fan of the man. I think he's the best player to have ever played football.
Gone at 20 minutes. Ronaldo mentioned.
Yeah, but, I think that's another episode of Football Pundits with Abhishek Iyer on Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'll cap it there, but I'll let Kern answer that question. Obviously, from my very statement, I'm going to say that Barcelona are the favourites by a mile. I don't think Madrid have anything on them. Madrid's dressing room has not been the best. Gareth Bale scored the winner recently, snubbed his teammates when they went to give him a high five, walked the other side. There's general sort of...
Yeah, he's never become the player they thought Bale would become. Partly due to injuries, partly due to mentality you could question.
Expectations.
Maybe couldn't take
He was always touted to be the next Ronaldo. What happened to Nani at United? But coming back to this, what are your thoughts?
I mean, so coming back to the Classico, right? I think... So I'm going to tackle both questions, right? So I think both the season are in such a point where we tackled this before, right? Where we looked at the City-Chelsea debate. Copa del Rey right now is such a situation where if Barcelona rests Messi, it won't be that big a deal of them. They won the last 4 in a row.
Right. And Messi was rested in the first leg, by the way. He was brought on later, I think.
Exactly. So they've won the last 4 in a row, right, for Barca. So this is now for Real Madrid, probably the savior of the season. You know,
Copa del Rey, that's all they have.
And that's saying a lot. I mean, they're still in the Champions League, yes, correct. But when it comes to domestic competition, they've let Barcelona win for the last 4 times. I think going into this game, Madrid will have a lot more to give to it. Having said that, you know, which is why I think on the weekend, Barcelona will trump it. Yeah. Right? So I think the second leg could go either way. Maybe Madrid get it, go into the final, right? But the weekend, I think Barcelona are taking it because the pressure will be more on Real to win both. Whereas Barcelona can sort of go a little easier. They won't want to. It's the El Clasico. No team wants to lose. I mean, no mistake. Both of them are going to go and wanting to win.
But to be fair, even the Barca fans won't be too asked if they lose the Copa del Rey, but
win
end
on
up
the
winning
weekend.
on the weekend either way.
Exactly my point.
So, ladies and gents, watching the show, we'd love it if you could tell us what you think is going to happen in the 2 El Clasicos. We're clearly of the opinion that Barcelona are the stronger team. But if you have a different point of view, please hit subscribe and just let us know what your comments are. And I think that could be a refreshing take on maybe when we do eventually analyze the El Clasico. Yeah.
I mean, if you disagree, just troll us. It's fine. I'll give you his personal handle. Go for it all night. Yeah. He's up replying to you.
At Karndateria, go for it. I am open to all trolls.
In fact, all our handles are down here. You can just hit us up anytime. And,
mine's up here.
All right.